Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me and dropping your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts about something that Woj dropped on us today. I know this is a recap of the Knicks' loss to the Celtics, the still very depleted Knicks. Losing to the Celtics, got to keep that into perspective. However, they had to play. They would have had to have played a near perfect game to win this game. And for a while there, it looked like they had enough. They played a very competitive first half. I have highlights for you, stats breakdown, and let's get into it. But I have a recap. Well, basically, I have a video of Woj talking about Randle's injury and WOJ Anunoby that was on NBA Countdown, and I'll show that to you in a little bit. But first, let's get to it. Here we go. Celtics came into New York, and they took care of business. They look like a team very composed, very in control. They understood what they had to do to win this game. They won at 116-102, mostly behind a tremendous performance by Jaylen Brown on the offensive end. I think he went 12 of 16 or something. Porzingis, just a tremendous lethal offensive threat, living up to his unicorn-ish type promise. And then, of course, Jason Tatum, who now people are starting to talk about him as an MVP type candidate. I never understood why he wasn't. Honestly, he plays on the best team in the NBA, and he's the best player on the best team, and he's taken his team to the finals. So, and now he's poised to repeat it again, unless the Knicks can get healthy. However, that's what it's all about here. So first, I'm just going to show you the video. Let's get to that, and then we'll talk about it.
There's not full clarity on this yet, but know this with Julius Randle. Last season, when he had an ankle injury, there was, a lot of suggestion to him from medical people that he might want to have that surgery that he put off to the offseason during the season. He didn't do it. He played injured into the playoffs, then had the procedure in the offseason. So you kind of start there with Julius Randle. His inclination is to play, and it is to play even hurt and in some discomfort. That's his goal right now, is to try to get back and play and put anything off to the offseason. But that's still fluid. That's not been fully decided. But WOJ Anunoby, I think better news on that front. Had a loose particle taken out of his elbow back on trade deadline day, February 8th. I'm told he is right on schedule. There's not been any setbacks. They'll reevaluate him at the end of next week, and then the hope is he starts to get back on the court then. But certainly, Julius Randle is the one. I think there's more concern this season about not just getting him back, but how effective can he be playing with that injured right shoulder.
That's some partially good news there.
Well, when you say the word fluid, we do this.
That isn't good. That's not good news.
Okay.
That is not good news. I mean, because if the Knicks aren't healthy, it's not happening. But you can say that about any team. I hope they are healthy because they've done a heck of a job this year. Their whole front office, Leon Rose, the whole group, Thibodeau, has done a fantastic job. The whole organization has done a fantastic job. So I hope they're healthy.
All right. So just to kind of like, here, let me switch to this here. Okay, so this was thanks to New York Basketball for tweeting this out, recapturing here. So basically, the reality is he's been told he should get surgery on his shoulder. That's what it sounds like to me. When Woj says there's not full, remember, Woj is speaking, his sources are CAA, and we know the whole deal with CAA. That's Leon Rose's former agency, and his son works there. So the connections are all there. And when he says there's not full clarity on this, he means that they don't understand who's the one who's making the decision on what is going to happen. At the end of the day, is it going to be Randle who's going to try to play through the pain? So let me just read it again here. There's not full clarity on this yet. Last season ankle, there was a lot of suggestion, have that surgery during the season, which he didn't do. So he was told last year to have the surgery on the ankle. He didn't do it. Okay. So I can't remember. I think about when did he? If he had surgery, he would have been gone for the rest of the postseason. So it would have been the end of his season then. There's a chance if he had gotten the shoulder surgery, right away, that he might have been able to be back just by the playoff time. But then again, you're not sure. Once you get a surgery, you're not sure. Look at with Mitch. He got it back in December, and he still hasn't even been cleared really for on-court time at all. So it's possible maybe he returns in time to play the last 10 games of the season. That's my personal hope. I hope he plays the last 15 games, but let's just be cautious. He's back to play the last 10 games. So with Randle, he might have also, if he had gotten the surgery, might have also missed the rest of the season. So he doesn't want to. Obviously, he is a warrior, at heart. He likes to battle and play through. He plays through pain a lot. But the shoulder is a different situation. So in this situation, so he was suggested after he didn't. His inclination is to play, even hurt. That's his goal right now. Put anything off till the off season. But that's still fluid. That's not been fully decided. And I think that's because even Randle himself, because he's gotten probably second and third, fourth, fifth opinions and whatnot, even he himself understands the situation with his shoulder, his right shoulder, his banging shoulder. So when you factor all that in, that means there's tremendous uncertainty here. That's what full clarity, lack of clarity, not full clarity, means lack of clarity. Uncertainty. Concern this season about not just getting him back, but how effective he can be playing with that injured right shoulder. And that, to me, is the real bottom line here. I've played through tremendous pain and been effective. Not on this level, obviously. I'm just saying in general. There are guys, and Randle's someone who plays through pain often. I've mentioned that before. And he can give you production. However, the level of production that he was giving us, that's something that we may have to just kind of let go for the rest of this season. We have to prepare ourselves because it definitely looks like Randle is making a serious effort to come back for this season. There's no doubt about that. Even if, his shoulder isn't fully healed, which we'll only know when he gets that follow-up MRI, which should be soon, I imagine. So this situation, I feel that, it's tough. It's a tough choice. Would I personally, if I were him, play through the pain? I probably would. However, even he mentioned it, Randle mentioned it in his one press conference, or I think he had a couple of press conferences recently since after the All-Star game, where he mentioned he also has to think about his future as a player. So you don't want to get out there and do some serious damage to your shoulder. And then maybe you miss half a season next year. So you miss the rest of he comes back, plays 10 games, re-injures it, and it's worse. So he's out for the playoffs, so his goal wasn't achieved. And then misses the beginning part of next season. And then it takes him a while to get back into the shape in the gameplay. He was playing so well, beginning to understand his role so well on this team, where the game revolved around Brunson, and he was the other satellite who also drew gravity as well and playmaking. So right now, this loss that we had here tonight is actually secondary to this news here. This is the most important news, and I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this. And you guys, you may have seen it live when Woj talked about it. Google it. See you guys watch it. I want to hear your feelings about this. To me, this is crucial. However, all that said, that next paragraph right there is great news. OG right on schedule. And remember, he did have the surgery. So they'll reevaluate him at the end of next week, which is pretty much what we thought, and then hope. And the hope is he starts to get back on the court then. So probably he could be back in about a week and a half. Beautiful. We're going to need him tremendously. We need him because the defense. We need him for defense. And then Mitch, hopefully we'll get some more clarity on Mitch's situation soon. But somebody did post something about like a trainer or a friend of his or something that he's looking really good. Excuse me. and that he will be back. So let's hope, but that wasn't anything official. So fingers crossed on that, because if we get Mitch and OG back healthy, and then Randle, maybe he just waits a little longer, doesn't rush it back. If he really wants to be ready for the postseason, I say, you know what? Maybe come back for, the last 8 games of the season, just to get back into conditioning shape so that you're ready for the playoffs, if that's your real goal. Don't want you to come back and be a hero right now and then re-injure yourself. I know we need to get that, avoid these Celtics in the first round, but we can also avoid them if we finish 6th. I know it sounds terrible to say this, but I'm trying to be logical about this situation. If we can get at least 2 guys fully healthy of our starting front line, and then Randle's back, and maybe he's like 75% himself, that is better than no Randle at all. But I just don't want him to re-injure himself at this point. And then maybe he plays through. If he does have pain, some discomfort in the postseason, he just kind of plays through it. Hopefully he doesn't re-injure it. And then in the offseason, he does the shoulder surgery. So that's all. These are just my thoughts about it. Want to hear your thoughts about it. But the OG news is good news. So that's all I have to say on this for now. And let's get to the game highlights. Here we go. So this game, and actually I'm going to stop the highlights at one point and then go the play-by-play because they're not going to show you the highlight that I really want you guys to see. Anyway, the game got off to a good start for the Knicks. We even had a little lead at one point right there. Knicks actually at one point had a 4-point lead in this game, and they just battled and battled and battled. And the beautiful thing about having a Jalen Brunson on your team is that the man is just a complete dynamo. He really, let me see here. Let me reset this here. In the first quarter, he destroyed, actually in his first half, he lit up the Celtics for 19. The problem was the Knicks allowed Jaylen Brown to light us up for 20. And that's kind of how the whole game went. It's really frustrating in that respect. In the first quarter, Jaylen Brown had 10 points, and Brunson had 13 in that first quarter. As you can see, look, we were pretty much neck and neck in that first quarter, but then towards the end of it, they finally created some separation. Knicks could not score in the last 3 minutes of that first quarter, and that's when the Celtics created that they turned our 4-point lead into a 4-point lead for themselves, so an 8-point swing right there, and it's pretty much how it went. The Knicks never got the lead back after that point. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, one thing I got to mention is the defensive job that Derek White did on Dante DiVincenzo. Dante could only get 2 shot attempts up in that first quarter because he suffocated him. So they had shout out to Mazzulla. He had a great game plan here. Now, of course, it helps that there's no OG on the court. There's no Randle on the court. It helps in that respect. But he just figured, you know what? I'm not going to over trap Brunson. I'm not going to over blitz him too much, but I'm going to take away his other option, which is Dante. And it pretty much worked. But again, the Knicks were right there. Look, even halfway through the second quarter, the Knicks were only down 4. Then they started creating a little separation here, but the Knicks did make a nice little run. Finally, Dante got a nice look right there, buried that. Dante in the second quarter came through. Oh, actually, he struggled. That was his only make in that second quarter. He was 1 for 5. So the frustration on his part continued. Look at Porzingis. It's hard to deal with that much size, really, especially with the Knicks when we are pretty short right now. And Isaiah Hartenstein, as a valiant an effort as he put out there today, he's still coming back, nursing that Achilles. And he played 24 minutes tonight, only put up 1 shot attempt, which he made it. But he did get to the free throw line 4 times, and he connected on those. Finished with 6 points, only 7 rebounds. 5 of them were offensive, which is nice. Picked up 4 dimes. And actually, Josh Hart picked up 6 dimes. I'll talk about his game. 16 points for him, 8 rebounds for him, and 6 assists. So decent all-around game for him, though there were definitely those moments where he makes crazy, ridiculous plays. He runs himself into traffic. He committed 3 turnovers, but in almost 42 minutes of play, 3 turnovers, I can live with that. There's Dante missing right there, but look, he got blocked right there. and then a frustration push by Ihart. So you can see that was the type of game the Knicks were having there. In the third quarter, right as it began, the Knicks were able to come up, tie the game, got really close, and then at one point in this quarter, the Knicks were down 20. That's right. That's right. One thing I did want to mention in general that the Knicks were doing really well especially in the first half, was they weren't just closing out hard on the perimeter on three-point shooters. They were double closing out, and it was working. But at some point, that much effort, and the Celtics, all they have to do is make the next pass. If the guy, is getting too much attention, he just finds the next guy, and the next guy's going to hit it. Everybody on that team can shoot. Everybody. And then brings me back to another point. As good as Precious has been playing so far for the Knicks, this was not a good game for him. He passed up. He was 0 for 2 from the three-point line, and then continued to pass up on at least 3 more attempts, maybe even 4 more attempts. And we know those are possession killers because he's wide open. So that means the wide open guy is going to pass the ball to someone else who's not open, and then the shot clock's winding down. The team kind of lost its cohesion. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Dante DiVincenzo was shut down. He was just shut down. Let's just, be realistic about that. But here, in the third quarter, all right, we'll get into the details on this because I got the play-by-play. But this was a crucial killer bucket right there. And then right about here, I think here it is. Boom. This is where the lead goes to 20. Now, the Knicks then proceeded in the last minute and 40 seconds of the third quarter to go on a 7-0 run to cut that 20-point deficit down to 13 going into the fourth. And then for the next minute or so, they were able to get a couple stops. They scored, so they really went on a 9-0 run to cut the score was 97-86 at that point. Actually, yeah, you're right there. You're just seeing it right there. And then, this was a nice play by Bogey. Bogey had a kind of a frustrating game overall. He just finished 2 of 7 in 18 and a half minutes, just 8 points. Did hit all 3 of his free throws, but no rebounds for him, no assists, no steals, nothing in those areas. Look, he just got blown past him. He's not a good defender. This is going to be tricky. We made an interesting trade. We traded away, Quentin Grimes, who, I love his game. For someone who's obviously, currently a better offensive player, Bogey is. However, his defense is so lacking. So are you giving up too much? What are we gaining in terms of what we're getting? But let's hope that his offense just continues to, this was an off game for him, but the previous game he was 6 for 6 from the three-point line. So this might have just been an off game for him. Let's hope that reverts back to what it was. He averages 20 points a game. He's one of those kind of guys. Okay, we're done with these. Let's get back to this. Now let's get to this. All right. So remember I mentioned at the 139 mark, 140 mark, the Knicks were down 20. Then by the end of that quarter, Knicks were only down 13. Only. It's good. That's good. We had momentum. Even Doris Burke mentioned it on the broadcast. Hey, you can't sleep on these guys. They're gritty. They're scrappy. They never, ever give up. She had seen them come back. I can't remember which game it was, but she's totally right. So here we go. The 9:17 mark. Bojan connects. Makes that 15. But that was the one we just saw. 99-90. So now we were only down 9. Only down 9. Then the possession you didn't see because they didn't show it in the highlights. Tatum misses a 25-footer. Pritchard, the smallest guy on the court, gets the offensive rebound. But then kicks it out to Jaylen Brown. He misses a three-pointer. Al Horford gets the offensive rebound. He misses a driving layup. And then he gets another rebound. And he misses that tip shot. He gets another rebound. Finally makes it. So that's 4 offensive rebounds in that one series of plays. And then it was 101-90. That moment took the wind out of that momentum, completely out of the sails of the New York Knicks at that point. Crushed them. And then began this other sequence of events. Horford makes that tip-in shot. Then Josh Hart turnover. Then Jalen Brunson gets a rebound. Then he does a bad pass. turnover, number 2. Then Brunson gets the offensive rebound. Josh Hart misses. Then Tatum hits a bucket. So now it's 105. Oh, no. Jaylen Brown, made a layup. So it was 103-109. So now it's a 13-point deficit. Then Tatum hits a driving layup. Then it's we're down 15. And then Burks tries to do a bounce pass on the break. I believe it was to Precious. Terrible pass. Precious had no chance of getting it. And Precious was out there. A good pass, we get a bucket, we get some momentum back, sails out of bounds. Alec Burks tonight was 3 of 11 in almost 19 minutes. He was 3 of 11, 1 of 7 from the three-point line. Oh, man, that was atrocious. He did pick up 3 rebounds, no assists, no steals, and that 1 turnover. So the Detroit boys combined for 5 of 18 overall, 27% or so, 2 of 11 from the three-point line. 2 of 11, under 20% from the three-point line. So, and that's what we got them here for. It's almost, Bojan, I'm not going to talk about him. I can talk about Burks. It's almost like Burks has picked up too many bad habits. It's almost like he still thinks he's in Detroit, where he just kind of is out there doing his thing and stuff. He doesn't understand the magnitude of the situation that he's in right now. These Knicks are not a joke. These Knicks have a legitimate shot to face this team again in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it requires a commitment to make the right play, to make the best play every single moment. Now, it's going to be hard to do it. You're going to make mistakes, but he doesn't look like he really gets it. He doesn't understand the situation. Situational awareness. He hasn't gotten to him yet. Now, I was talking about it with JD. It may just take more time to shake off that Detroit Pistons loser malaise. I mean, what they lose 27 games in a row. I mean, that's got to be horrifying as a player. So he's got to wake up and understand he's just not here to fill in a few minutes. No, he's here to help us win. Feel like Bojan gets that. He's trying. He made mistakes too, but I get the sense he's trying to create something, make something happen. So this is a serious situation that we're in when you look at the situation with the Randle injury. And you saw him sitting, if you watched the game live, he was there on the stand. His eyes were big. He's just watching. He tells him it kills him to sit on the bench. He wants to be out there. So we're in a tough situation. We're in a tough situation because our second best player is much needed. However, it's not, it's not like automatic. It's not like, he gets to this point in his rehab and boom, he's ready to go. We're not going to get that kind of clarity. It's going to just be a decision basically it's just going to be Julius Randle's decision. I hope he makes the right one for himself and for the team as well, but I hope he makes the right decision. Hope he does. All right, so just to run through this pretty as quick as possible here. Brunson had a tremendous game. He played 38 minutes, 34 points, 4 of 9 from the three-point line, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Hart, 6 assists. Really appreciate his assists that he got us because the entire bench, only Deuce picked up an assist. In the entire, no assist from Burks, no assist from Bojan. I'm not expecting Jericho to give us assists, but come on, Bojan. Come on, Alec. Come on. I mean, where's your commitment to playmaking? Setting guys up wasn't there. Precious Achiuwa, only 8 points for him, 1 assist, 9 rebounds. No double for Precious in his 34 minutes. And again, he passed up on open looks. He was struggling out there with the size. Celtics are big, especially out on the perimeter, and it did affect DiVincenzo. But I think that there's a fix for that. There's a fix for that. They were able to finally to give him like some double screens to get him loose, get him a little space. He doesn't need much space. That's all. He just needs a little more than he was getting in that first, basically 3 quarters. Deuce was supposed to not play. Apparently, I think he was ill. It may have been a stomach flu or something, but maybe they just pumped him with fluids and got him well enough to get out there. And he played 16 minutes, 5 of 7 for him. Hit a nice midi, 1 of 2 from the 3-point line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 11 points for him. Very productive game for him. Really, if it weren't for him, that bench would have been just abysmal in general. The Knicks shot overall 45.1%, 34.2%. It's tough when you're shooting like that. When the other team, check this out, in the first 3 quarters, let's go here. Then I'll talk about the next thing, about the Boston Celtics. The plus-minus here, as you can see, minus 13 for Precious, minus 12 for Jalen, and then minus 14 for Bojan, minus 13 for Burks. Right, Deuce was a plus. He was the only significant minutes guy who got a plus. But I think it's partly because he went back out on the court in that fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, the Celtics kind of took their foot off the gas a bit. But let's get to the Celtics. They ended up shooting almost 43% from the 3-point line. And they shot almost 57%. That's amazing to shoot that well in a game. And a lot of it, they feasted inside, even though they did hit 15 of 35 finally. But in that first half, they were just killing us on in the paint. However, the first 3 quarters, the Boston Celtics shot 69.6% in the first 3 quarters of this game, almost 70%. They shot 57.7% from the 3-point line through those first 3 quarters. So 75% of the game, these guys couldn't miss. And yet the Knicks were still there. They got it under 10 points. Not enough proper execution in key moments, especially from the bench players. Wrapping this up soon. Here you can see the points in the paint, a minus 20 for the Knicks. That was the whole story right there. Because even when you look at the 3 points, yes, they shot almost 43%. We shot 34%, but we had only 2 makes less than they did. The 3-point line, but at the free throw line, we were able to make up. We only missed 1 out of 16 free throws. Fabulous, 93.8%. So we were a +6 there, which compensates for the -6 of the 3-point line. So then it comes down to inside in the paint. And right there, Celtics really cooked our asses right there, man. Even on the fast break as well. And Mazzulla said it, and he was being interviewed. He said, "Yeah, we wanted to keep them get no easy transition points. Don't want to let them leak out. All the things that the Knicks do, especially last year's Knicks, they didn't want the Knicks to do that. So they held Hart in check. He couldn't get out on those one-man fast breaks coast to coast. They limited those, but there was one awesome play that Deuce did. He caught Jaylen Brown looking at the screener who was coming to set a screen, and he just took it to over Brown's right shoulder, just dribbled past them. Boom, beautiful little layup. That was an awesome moment. Just wish there were much more of that. Well, I'm not going to lose sleep over this loss. I understand the situation. The game was a winnable type of game if the Knicks had played better defense. And they are a very good defensive team. But again, even though we got Ihart back, he is compromised right now. Even though we did get Bojan back, he's not known to be he's not a good defender. And even though we did get Dante back, Dante's obviously not 100% himself. And even when he's 100%, he's at least a decent defender. He's not a great defender. He's okay. He came from a long way. In the beginning of the season, he was terrible. He was the worst defensive starter on the team. But he's climbed back up. He's played himself in. He's understood how he can be effective on a defensive end. But his hammy. Who knows? I don't want to get too far into it. But thing is, you got to play better defense, and you got to execute better. You can't make mistakes against a team like this, especially on a night when they're not making mistakes. I mean, how many? They only made 7 turnovers. The Celtics only made 7 turnovers. you're going to lose against that team if you only force them to make 7 mistakes. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. My name is George. Please subscribe, share this video. Please share it. Hit the thumbs up button. I want to know what people think about the whole Randle situation and how the Knicks could maybe address it. Maybe there's something that can be done. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.